Hello, everyone. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? I know that there are young people in the back. How are you guys doing this afternoon? You guys have been so quiet this afternoon. First of all, I want to start out by introducing myself. My name is Jude Abaga. I am a rapper. I honestly don't know what I'm doing here. I think it has something to do with the fact that earlier this year I did a TED Talk in Maitama, and I think it went pretty well because I started getting calls to speak, and that was my only idea I've ever had in my life. So, but I want to congratulate Tennessee. I want to congratulate Genesys for what you guys are doing. This is mind-blowingly amazing, and it's your legendary vision, your commitment to young people. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. To show you how hands-on he is, he called me yesterday. I was in the shower. My phone rang. He came and he just said, I wanted to say hello and welcome you, and thank you very much for that, sir. No, let's go back to the first slide. So, unfortunately, my notes are on my phone, so I'm not going to have the clicker. So, you are going to go back to the old days of me saying, next slide, please. Can we go to the first slide? The first slide. I also wanted to say, by the way, when I sent this slide in, the Genesys guys added that part, the best Genesys talk of all time. That was from them, so I accept. Since you guys say so, by that guy. I also wanted to add that she just mentioned it, that it'd be great to see more women in platforms like this. I'm a feminist, and I believe that women deserve an equal opportunity. I can see a lot of our sisters here. Can our sisters make some noise? Yes, we need more female speakers, more female panelists, but I'm blessed to be here. When I got the topic, it said collaboration. Can we go to the next slide? Collaboration as a tool for economic development. I was like, this is a setup. It sounded like an intelligent thing. It sounded like the person that wrote it didn't like me very much, and they wanted me to come and mess up here. So I went to go do my research. I was like, okay, Wikipedia, Google, come to my rescue. I need to know what all these things mean. So we started with collaboration. This is the Cambridge definition for collaboration. How am I doing so far, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you. It says the situation of two or more people working together to create or achieve the same thing. Mind blown. The same thing. Working together to achieve the same thing. It's very important. We're going somewhere with this. The next step, I had to Google. I said, what is a tool? I felt like I had an idea what a tool was, but again, let me go research. I went and researched. It says a piece of equipment that you use with your hands to make or repair something. So we're doing well. We know what collaboration is. Two people, they come together, they have the same thing in mind. They want to achieve the same thing. And then a tool is this mechanism or something that you create, you use with your hands to repair or create something. What is economic development? This one, I really needed help with this one. So I went, and the definition I saw is economic development is the process by which a nation, not a government, a nation, improves the economic, political, and social well-being of its people. All right, so being the math genius I am, I created a formula, right, based on the topic that was given to me. And our formula is this: collaboration plus its use as a tool will lead to economic development. Thank you. So this is the topic they've given me. Now it's my job to prove, to find a proof in here. Wish me good luck. Let's go to the next slide. Now, I wanted to know where we are before we started. Now, there's so many different statistics out there to be able to gauge where we are in terms of the level of economic development. But I'm going to use a few. Now, for the economic portion of economic development, we now know that we are the richest country in the world with poverty. There are 87 million poor people living in the same country as you and I. Let me tell you what's more scary. Because we say 87 million, okay, that's the starting point. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the starting point. There are 152 million Nigerians that the reason they are not considered in the 87 is just a technicality. Because they live below $2 a day. It's just a technicality. I think some people came together and said that $1 a day should be the benchmark. But if we were to just change it to $2, we're going to find that there are 152 million Nigerians. That is about 80% of our country's population. It's scary. I said, let's look at the political sector. And what I found is that today, whether it's terrorism and corruption, think about this number. 2.3 million people have been displaced due to Boko Haram's activities. Can you fathom that? 2.3 million Nigerians. It's ridiculous. And when it comes to the social sector, we see that Nigeria is third in cybercrime. I don't know if we should share for coming top 3 in something. But in the top 20, no, go back please. In the top 20 global ranked internet users, so these are the countries that have the largest amount of internet users, and Nigeria is there, we're number 8. But here's the funny thing. Out of the top 20, there are only 2 countries that have an internet penetration rate of below 50%. Nigeria's is the lowest, by the way. The other is Bangladesh. So this means that even though we have many people using the internet, we are still very, very low in terms of the amount of people that have access to the internet. We are only in the top 20 by our share size. You understand? Anyway, let's go to the next slide. So, before I go far, I'm going to talk about a collaboration, and I want to paint you a picture of this young guy. I just come back from college in the States. I had this girl that I really liked. Her name is Asabe. She's passed on now. May her soul rest in peace. And I didn't have a lot of money. And so I would go see her, and I would talk to her, and I would toast her every day. And you guys know this thing. All the young guys who appreciate what I'm talking about, who are currently in this process, let me hear you say, yeah, yeah. You know, and you're trying to talk to her, and you can see the bank boys driving their Corollas, coming in and out of campus. And here I am, I'm talking to her, and I said, you know, hey babe, you know, I don't have a lot of money right now, but if you stick with me one day, I'm going to be at the Genesys hub, I'm going to be giving a speech. And she was looking at me and like, what do you mean one day? Like, how long are we talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, this story led to a song, which was a legendary collaboration from mine. I think it's one of my best songs. It featured an amazing girl who I believe to be one of the best black voices on the planet. And it was rumored for a long time that her and I were dating. And how many people know who I'm talking about? As we go to the next slide. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Rihanna. It was just a rumor. We didn't actually date. We're just close friends. But the song is called 1 Naira. And this is a story of the collaboration that happened on this song. Now, I'm going to explain. I'm going to walk you through it. When you listen to 1 Naira, there's a sample throughout the song that goes 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 throughout the song. And that is a sample. It's a piece of Rihanna's voice that we've taken and used. She didn't pick the call when I wanted to ask for permission, so I just left a message. But the other person I collaborated with is an amazing singer, a sister of mine called Waji, who coincidentally I met for the first time 10 years ago in Enugu. And little do people know that Omaomi was sitting in the room and she helped us write some of the song. So when you hear whether na 1 Naira, whether na 1 million, you're the only one I see, those lyrics were curated and helped, and co-writing credit goes to Omaomi. She was in the room. So this is the baseline of our collaboration here. Thank you. Now, on this level, I bet you guys know who this guy is, right? You guys didn't know he was a musician. You didn't know, but you didn't hear his voice on the song. He's on the 3rd verse. I'm kidding. The guy over there, his name is Greg Hutchinson. He created a software called Cakewalk many years ago. Now, he doesn't know me, never met me, but this software called Cakewalk is very important for me because it was the software that I was able to take all the instruments and all the ideas and edit it in. And Cakewalk began in 1987, and their first client was a company called Microsoft. That's where Bill Gates comes in. Now, these next two guys, Ebuka and Noble, I wanted to just put a random Igbo guy. I didn't know anyone else to put. But Ebuka is going to represent for me Computer Village. Because I don't have access to Microsoft, neither do I have access to Cakewalk. So somebody, by we assume legal means, took that software, broke it down, and put it for 200 naira in Computer Village. part of the collaborative process. And here's my CEO, Audu Mekori, legendary guy from Chocolate City. And last but not least, Nobu is going to represent the Alaba trader. So this is the story of our collaboration. All these people had to come together at different points in time to come together to play their role in the creation of this song that has impacted my life and the life of my family. But when I thought about it, and I thought about our formula, remember our formula? The formula says that we must end up in economic development. I started to ask myself a question. I said, how well did we do? What did we miss? Let's go to the next slide. And I started to think and look at all these links and said to myself, if we actually had an actual collaborative process, what would it have looked like? Now, we know that on that slide, we have the music industry, we have the tech industry, we have distribution, we have the world-famous Nigerian industry called businessman. No one really knows what it is or the scope, but it's an industry we have. And they're all represented. But some of the missing links are Rihanna to M.I Abaga. We are on the song together, but we didn't actually collaborate. Meaning, by our definition, we weren't trying to achieve the same thing together, right? Microsoft to Computer Village. Again, the link is missing. They actually weren't trying to achieve the same thing. There was some fluidity, there was some process that happened, it did lead up to a song, but both of them didn't sit down to say, hey, let's do this together. The last link is Cakewalk to Chocolate City and Alaba. This Cakewalk company actually filed for bankruptcy earlier this year, and they've gone through a lengthy process. They've just come out of the process of bankruptcy. They got some funding. But I imagine that if every young person in Nigeria that wanted to produce music was able to buy an original copy of Cakewalk, even if it was maybe just 1,000 naira, that their story could have been different because we are many music. How many artists do we have in the building here? How many people that make music? Just 2. Okay, this is the wrong crowd for the slide. But let's go to the next slide. Now, let's put it in context because I'm trying to capture for you the value that is missing in the links. Now, Rihanna's net worth is $245 million. M.I.'s net worth, we couldn't get an actual, so we just said it's less than $245 million. Rihanna has 30 million YouTube subscribers. So when I think about the fact that we didn't collaborate, I have to think about the value that's missing. The value on her side that is able to create $245 million of personal net worth for Rihanna. You people are laughing at me. This next one is for you guys. Microsoft's net worth is $753 billion. They're not even the biggest company. Now, for all you people that are laughing at me, or guys, I saw you laughing at me too, I want to humbly say to you, sir, that the joint net worth of Computer Village and Genesys, we can't get an actual number, so let's just say it's less than $753 billion. Again, we achieved something together, but we didn't set out to achieve the same thing together. And all this value is on one side of the globe. All this value. This company I was talking about, Cakewalk, they went through bankruptcy and they got seed funding. And their seed funding this year, their investment in it was $70 million. This is a company called Gibson Guitars. How many people have ever heard of Gibson guitars here? A few people. Gibson guitars is by no means a major player in the entertainment industry in America. It is not a major player in the music industry. But they were able to raise $70 million of investment this year when the total net worth of the Nigerian music industry is $35 million. $35 million. Where is the value? The value is not here. We're doing things together, but the value isn't here. Can we go to the next slide? Ladies and gentlemen, now why does this matter? Why should we care? We should care because of this man. His name is O.J.B. Jezreel, and he passed away a few years ago. He's a legendary Nigerian producer, somebody that wrote maybe the most important song in the history of Nigerian music. And the reason I say it's the most important song is because when the industry was dead and void, there was a song called African Queen, recorded by an artist called Two-Face Idibia, that literally shattered the walls of every boundary and every border that they had put around us and our industry, and went all the way to America and redefined what it meant to be a Nigerian musician. Two-Face went on to win awards the world over, and he became a symbol of hope for every young artist. And he was produced in a studio by this man, O.J.B. Jezreel. And at the end of his life, ladies and gentlemen, O.J.B. Jezreel raised money to go get a kidney transplant. And when he came back, after a couple of years, the kidney failed. And after he had passed away, his family said that he didn't think it was right to come back and ask people for money again. And so he preferred to die. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we should care about the value is because we may work like millionaires. There is not one single difference between the amount of input that O.J.B. Jezreel has done in the industry to what Rihanna has done. The value they've created is the same. In fact, I would put it to say that in their context, Rihanna doesn't yet have a song as important to America as African Queen is to Nigeria. But the outcome is different when the value isn't here. Ladies and gentlemen, can we go to the next slide? And so when I start to think about this, I start to say to ourselves, what is our same cause? What is the same cause that every young person that's here, that's listening to me, should be thinking about from morning to night? And should be saying, this is the purpose for which I'm going to collaborate with the person sitting next to me, whether they be in tech, whether they be in finance, whether they be in agriculture, whether they be in entertainment. I'm going to reach across and grab their hand because we have to pull our country out, because we don't want to die like poor people when we have worked like millionaires. When we have put in the work, when we have done our best, when we've fought for the country, we've voted, we've done everything. We don't want to be on Twitter raising money for kidney transplant. And not even in Nigeria, because we know our hospitals are going to fail us. We know that there's going to be a sense of entitlement from every staff when we get there, and that people are going to die waiting for blood, waiting for a respirator, because there'll be one respirator in the whole of Lagos that'll be functioning. We don't want to work like millionaires and die like poor people. What is our same cause, ladies and gentlemen? When we look at our economy, our task is to improve the standard of living for everyone. For those 87 million people, that's who all of us should turn and look at. Those 87 million poor people, they have no homes. They're literally walking through the rest of the country, standing by our cars, knocking and asking for change. And one day they're going to stop knocking and begging. One day they're going to start breaking and taking. That is our focus, to change the standard of living for those guys. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the political, we're talking about justice and freedom. Nigeria is such an important place for the black race, because if Nigeria works, black people will be free. And there's nowhere in the world where you go where a black man is a first-class citizen. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there's nowhere in the world where a black man is truly free to pursue happiness the way he should. That is why it's so important for Nigeria to work, ladies and gentlemen. And societally, what are our values? 1 naira is about a guy telling a girl, I don't have money now, but we'll make it together. When was the last time you heard that on radio, on TV? It's about this. It's about money. It's about what you have. Chop my money. Come take. Bend low. I'll bless you with money. Have these become our values? Is that what it means to be Nigerian? Is that what it means to be African? This has to be our shared cause, ladies and gentlemen. We have to stand together. Let's go to the next slide. And because of that, the question I want to say to the statement I want to say to everybody here at the end is, we all have to start with why. All the young people, if you're like me and you're under the age of 23, why are you guys laughing? Something happened? Yeah. I want you to grab somebody's hand. Grab somebody's hand. Grab somebody's hand. Because a lot of times when we have this conversation, we think that we're talking about ourselves. We are mostly okay if things go bad, the people in this room. We're probably the people that will survive. The why is not us. The why is people that aren't here. And that person whose hand you're grabbing next to you, we have to start to think together to change Nigeria for the people that are out there, the people that we pass every day. Before we leave, ladies and gentlemen, you can let go now. You can let go. Ladies and gentlemen, before you leave, all the young people, I want you to turn to somebody and ask them who they are and exchange a number and promise each other. Find someone that you can work on a project with and collaborate. Because while I've been on stage, I've been holding my phone, and I can tell you that this company has the power to move mountains, has the power to change the world. In fact, their mantra, their why is, we believe in people that are going to change the world. Steve Jobs, apart from the context in which he was born and his incredible vision, was not much unlike the average Nigerian youth. He was as stubborn, as unruly in his young days as the Nigerian youth that we see, and we say, look at this stubborn boy growing up. If you go and read his biography and see some of the things he would do for creativity and for fun. But our why must be, as a collective, as a group of young people that have access to some sort of information, to some sort of education, to change Nigeria for everyone, together. And so please, let's communicate, let's talk, let's share numbers, let's start to think about collaboration. And let me tell you the most important thing. The one thing that has to stop with our generation is that senseless division must end. I don't care who you are, I don't care where you're from. If you have value, then you are important. Somebody gave a story the other day where they said that if you're getting on a plane and they tell you, you hear the pilot come and say, I don't know how to fly, but by the zoning policy of the airline, it is now our turn to fly the plane. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with why, and the why is better Nigeria for all of us. I think it'd be unfair for me to leave without performing a song. So can we do one naira? Can we collaborate and do one naira together? If you came here with your friend or your wife or somebody that's been there for you since day one, can you put your hands up like this? Is your friend here? You got a friend here? Where's your friend? Show me your friend. That's your guy? How many people know the lyrics to the song? I see all my young people in the back. Don't worry, don't worry. All right, we're going to do it together. We're going to collaborate on this, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It goes something like this. Yeah. Hey, princess, I'm so into you. Cause you see past where my revenue is. And love me for me. Cover you. Leave you. That is something I would never do. Other girls just wanna get rich quick. See them running things like Olympics. Married men chopping them like biscuits. Those are fast food girls, those are fish sticks. But what we have is so realistic. It's no filming, girl, no film tricks. I don't go jump outside, no picnics. Cause you and I are both the statistics. Hey, it don't matter if I got ego. We got something we can build on. And even if your friends don't say so. 1, 2, when I know one naira, when I know I'm million, baby you got me, baby you got me. When I know one naira, when I know I'm million, baby you got me, baby you got me. I want to hear you sing. You're the only one that I see. You know Gary, one night kick got no Gary. You know Gary, whether or not you get money. doesn't matter. I'll stay with you if you stay with me. This one's Sakiti Coach Vibe. If you stay down, follow Chop Kwakwa. When I'm living by the bay, friends with Oprah and Obama. Guess who gon' be my baby mama and my wifey? Precisely, cause you loving me when nobody likes me, and you feeling me when nobody hypes me. So when the money come, you gon' be beside me. You're a diamond, you're priceless. A lot of girls shine, you the brightest. If you ever try to leave me like this, I'll follow you like free like this. Hey, here's my proposal, baby. Love me though the money is a maybe. And if your friends say that you're crazy, what can they see? Whether I'm one night, whether I'm million, baby you got me, baby you got me. Whether I'm one night, whether I'm a million, baby you got me, baby you got me. You're the only one that I see, I see you, I see you, I see you. One night you can nobody. Whether or not you get money, I'll stay with you if you stay with me. And he looks at her and says, you know I love you, honey. If you know this situation, you say I get some money, or better occupation. Anywhere you want to go, we go fly. Anywhere you say you want, I'm gonna buy. Just to show you, baby girl, what you listen to me. Let's take it easy, girl, till we get there. Things are hard right now, a lot of stress, yeah. But I promise to always give you my best, yeah. Hey, I'll put my right hand on my chest, yeah. Hey, nobody in the world can pay for this feeling that I feel when you say you're my girl, I'm your king and your man. Yo, give it a try, give it a try. Whether I know my naira, whether I know me, I see you, baby, you got me. Baby, you see, this is the Nigeria I grew up in. Whether I know one naira, whether I know. I want to hear you sing, baby. Remember when we used to have morals and values about love? Hey, you're the only one that I see, and I see you. Munagi gano gari. Then we go party later. Whether or not you get money, I'll stay with you if you stay with me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. God bless you.